Now welcome to another lightning response video. This time we got a question from Lawrence Talbot who asked, "Hey Thor, do you think the Jedi could have served the Force without serving the Republic? And if so, then how would you imagine that would have worked?" A central theme in the prequel era, at least before Disney took over, was that the Jedi became too focused on protecting a corrupt Republic instead of the Force itself. We even have the iconic line from Obi-Wan during Revenge of the Sith where he point-blank tells Anakin, "My allegiance is to the Republic, to democracy." But shouldn't his and all Jedi's allegiances be to the light side, not any one governmental body, especially one so heavily corrupted? And the short answer to that is yes, and the long answer is what follows. Because one thing I know I say all the time, and I have been saying it for years at this point, is that the Jedi started to serve the will of the Republic instead of the will of the Force, and that is what really went wrong for them in the age of the prequels. And that is not just something I came up with out of nowhere. George Lucas himself has said similar things multiple times. He has basically said the exact same thing, just in different ways. He has said that the Jedi, started to prioritize duty to the Republic over their spiritual instincts. That their bureaucratic entanglement is what led to a loss of moral clarity. That when they became generals for the Republic in the Clone Wars, that they were then pulling away from being monks or from their peacekeeper roles and they turned into soldiers, which clouded their judgment and connection to the Force, thus making them more susceptible to the dark side and the manipulations of Palpatine. Lucas has even said the Jedi got caught up in the system, they were playing politics and fighting wars when they should have been above all that. And I think the quote you bring up from Revenge of the Sith when Obi-Wan says to Anakin,
"Anakin, my allegiance is to the Republic, to democracy!"
I think that is very specifically in there, or was put in there by George Lucas, to show just how lost the Jedi had become at that point. That no, Obi-Wan, your allegiance is not to the Republic itself, but rather to the people of it, or to all people actually, not just those in the Republic. And that your devotion, the Jedi's devotion to the Republic itself, to the political leadership of it, is the reason it all fell apart for them. And that's in large part because the political leader of it, the Supreme Chancellor that they served, was of course a Sith who used that war to destroy them, a war they should have never been a part of. And if the Jedi weren't so loyal to the Republic and had instead again just followed the will of the Force, they almost certainly never get entangled in the war in the first place, and maybe, just maybe, they find a way to avoid it. Or at the very least, they carry on peace talks during it and hopefully bring it to a swift end instead of course, being generals fighting in it. And remaining negotiators is what they should have been doing all along, not picking a side and fighting for one of them. And so, and I know I'm getting a little bit away from the question, but if we boil it all down here, if we boil it all down and try to figure out what exactly the prequels were supposed to be about at their very core, and we keep in mind one of the reasons why George Lucas made Star Wars in the first place was that he wanted to reinvigorate spirituality in people, especially in younger people. But I think the story of the prequels overall are, for one, they're a reminder to always be vigilant, to always be on guard for the rise of evil. That it can never truly be defeated externally. Even if you haven't seen it for 1,000 years, it can still come back, and it's probably out there plotting and planning your demise while you become a bit too confident and sure of yourself that you have defeated it. And if you do let your guard drop, be you a Jedi or whoever you may be, it can even take over a democratic republic and convince its people to willingly give up their freedom, which is one of the scariest things of all. That in the name of peace and security, many cheered the loss of their freedom. It died to a thunderous applause, which is perhaps the greatest or most poignant line from those three movies. Also, evil can never ever be defeated internally either, and I mean on the personal level, an individual level. The prequels are a reminder that we all fight a constant battle against our own selfish nature. Because all of us, even someone who starts out as altruistic as young Anakin Skywalker did in The Phantom Menace, though yes, even then, there were hints of his selfishness, which there should be because, again, all of us have to fight it all of our lives. But even someone like young Anakin who wants to help others just because it's the right thing to do, he had a monster inside of him that found a way to destroy the good person he was, as Obi-Wan might put it. Basically, even the best of us, even the best person in the world, in theory, could become Darth Vader is one of the lessons of the prequels. Furthermore, another core lesson of the prequels, something else it is trying to say, is that we should put our faith in some sort of higher power or belief. To trust in the Force is something we often hear the Jedi say, and where they went wrong was, of course, no longer trusting in the Force, but trusting in the Republic run by people, and people are, of course, fallible. Institutions are fallible. They can fail and fall, which is one of the lessons of the prequels. They are or can be a way for, shall we say, bad people to get what they want when they learn how to manipulate those systems, just like Palpatine did. And really, again, at the core, I think the prequels and Star Wars in general, or at least George Lucas' Star Wars, they're making a case for moral realism, that there is object goodness or morality that we should strive to abide by. And I say that because, again, Lucas himself has said the Jedi lost their way when they stopped following the Force and started following just the Republic, or following those running the Republic. They were doing that instead of just listening to the Force, which I think we are very much led to believe seeks balance above all else, that the Force seeks to be in a balanced state above anything and everything else, or to be in a state that allows all life or all people to prosper and live free. And we have to keep in mind that the Force is life and life is the Force, so of course it would want there to be harmony with itself, if that makes sense. And thus, when the Jedi are listening to the will of the Force, what they are hearing, or sensing, or feeling, I don't know that they are actually hearing a voice, per se, but they are being told or shown in some capacity what actions they can take that will lead to the betterment of all individuals, of all people. Though, of course, there is still the problem of it all being open to interpretation, which is a criticism of moral realism, right? We all have to agree that these are the right things, and, of course, we don't always do that. But in Star Wars, there is also the problem of trying to interpret what the Force is actually showing a Jedi. I mean, always in motion the future is, right? Or the prophecy may have been misread. Again, I don't think the Force is literally telling the Jedi what to do. They are trying to guide them, and it's up to them to interpret it correctly. And that also ties into a core message of Star Wars, not just the prequels, but again, Star Wars itself, that being, we're all flawed individuals. We cannot be perfect, and we're going to do some dumb things from time to time, and we're even going to intentionally or accidentally hurt other people. But no matter what we've done, we can still make the right choices. We can always try to be better people no matter what else we may have done in our life, no matter how far astray we may have gone, even if we have become our version of Darth Vader, the one that is, again, inside all of us. But anyway, like I said, I think I got a bit off track. And to quickly go back to your question before wrapping up this video, you asked what it might look like if the Jedi just served the Force instead of the Republic. And though I think, sure, it is fine or even good or necessary for there to be a Jedi Order of some kind, that they do have rules and a code and can communicate with each other, in all reality, I think the best way for the Jedi to operate would be more or less independently, to travel the galaxy, letting the Force guide them wherever they are needed, or wherever the wind may take them, if you will. And that when the time comes, they will perhaps encounter a young person who is strong with the Force and wants to be a Jedi, and they could train them as their Padawan, and one day the Padawan will become the Master and take their own Padawan, and the cycle will continue indefinitely. And again, they can still have a Jedi Order, they can keep contact with each other, and when the need arises, sometimes they can get together and do whatever must be done. If the Sith rise up and they are trying to take over the galaxy, the Jedi can come together to thwart them. But overall, I think they should just travel the galaxy alone. They should let the Force guide them. And I think that would be the best version of the Jedi. Well, I think that is going to be all I got for you this time. Now it is your turn. Take to the comments below. Tell me what you think about anything and everything I had to say here. Or you can also ask a question for a future lightning response video. All you got to do is start your comment off with "Hey Thor," you then ask your question. I will try to answer it in a future video. But whatever the case may be, leave your comments below. Let's talk some Star Wars. And until next time, thanks for watching.